right. Who's to blame in the Trent Alexander-Arnold saga? Well, let's dive right in, because this is the channel that is all Liverpool all the time. It's all red. Okay. Apparently, Trent Alexander-Arnold was offered upwards of $300K per week to stay at Liverpool on a long-term contract. Now, I don't think anybody really knows if that's true, but that was the rumor. And if that is true, then basically, you know, if the pendulum is going to swing, it's going to swing to blame more on the Trent Alexander-Arnold camp. Because rumor is he's taking far less than that to go to Madrid. I think it's like $200K per week to go to Real Madrid on a 5-year deal. So if he's offered that by Liverpool, you can't really blame, you know, Richard Hughes, the ownership, Arneslot, whatever. You can't really blame the Liverpool side. That's really on Trent at that point. You're taking less money to leave the club. There's something else going on there. So we don't know if that's true, but if there is an inkling of that, I would think that Liverpool could match Real Madrid's offer of 200-ish K per week for 5 years. So I don't know. That's interesting. That's really interesting. It would seem that Trent turned Liverpool down because Arne Slot has said he wanted to keep Trent Alexander-Arnold at the club. I don't know why you would want to let him leave for free, but clearly Trent Alexander-Arnold has been offered and been talked to by the club about a new contract, and he has either stalled it or he has just said, no, I don't want to stay here. I want to go to Real Madrid, and that is what I'm going to do. And really, you know, the public image here is not bueno. It's not bueno for either side. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who really is to blame here? And what are the longer term impacts of this at Liverpool? Because if this goes down the way that we all think it's going to go down now, with Trent walking out the door for nothing, that is really not good business, guys. One of the best right backs in Premier League history, a club, you know, boyhood club. It's his, you know, he grew up at the club. He's been here for like 21 years and he's only 26 in his prime. He's about to enter his prime and you let him walk out the door for free. So it doesn't look good for him. It doesn't look good for Liverpool. You know, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it would seem that Trent has turned us down. On that same vein, the club hesitated a long time ago. Should have been a longer term contract in place probably 2 years ago, probably before Klopp even left. Now, I could see if the club ownership knew that Klopp was leaving maybe at the beginning of last season or sooner or later, whatever, and they were like, okay, we're going to halt any new contract signs. We're going to halt any new signings. We're not going to dish out any new cash until we get a new leadership group in here with Arne Slot and his guys. Okay, well, that's still really bad business because now you've got a guy who's leaving for free. And if you had re-signed Trent Alexander-Arnold, you could still sell him for a profit, pure profit, by the way, because we have not purchased Trent Alexander-Arnold. He came through the ranks. That's pure profit for Liverpool. So why not sign him to a long-term contract? And then if he wants to go to Madrid, you sell him for big money, you know, 100 million plus, whatever. But we didn't do that. We hesitated, and we fumbled it. So I think Klopp left Trent broken. I think a lot of us have seen the images of Trent crying on Klopp's last day at the club. And that could be a reason why Trent just doesn't have motivation to stay at the club anymore. Maybe it's a new regime that just doesn't quite fit his personality, doesn't fit his goals. I don't really know what your goals are if this doesn't, you know, winning the Premier League is not your goal. And, you know, maybe he's not a big fan of Arne Slot. Maybe Arne Slot's a little too tough on him. And little Trenter's got his little binky, you know, little wounds on the whatever. You know, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. But here's the deal, guys. Trent, for me, was never going to captain this Liverpool team. Just his attitude, his demeanor, the way he plays, the way he interacts with other players on the team. I just don't see him being a leader. I don't see him being a captain of this legendary club. This is not a, you know, small matter. Being the captain of Liverpool, you go down through the ages. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of focus, the amount of leadership, strength exerted by captains of Liverpool. You know, Virgil van Dijk, Jordan Henderson, Stevie G. There are, obviously a lot more than that, but there are legends of this club who have captained Liverpool, and I just don't see that for Trent. Even if he stays for 5 years, I don't know if he's the guy. So my point here is I just kind of think Trent was done with Liverpool. And I think Liverpool wanted Trent to stay. But they probably didn't do every single thing in their power they could to keep him stay. And maybe at the end of the day, they just said, well, it's not worth it. So Trent, you can go. It's still really bad business. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go 70% blame on Trent, 30% on the club. And we'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think in the comments.